How many times have we seen this? Well, rest assured, this will be the last. Although I took some pains in researching for this LP, I did get some things wrong that, before I call it finished, I'd like to correct. Back in the very first chapter, I said that the heads were the last graphical elements added to the game. That was true, but I misspoke when I said that they used voxels for facial details. They were supposed to use voxels. That's actually why the heads were so long in the making. They were holding off on creating them until the voxel engine had been finished. It never was, the creators ran out of time. In the final game, the heads are made out of the same polygons that comprise the bodies, even the facial details. Skipping forward now to Chapter 3. I called the monster in the bathtub an octopus. I called it that because I always have. I didn't so much as consider it could be anything else. The strategy guide calls it something else. Now, the strategy guide says a lot of things, and I normally wouldn't be bothered being contradicted by it, but the game itself also calls it something else. You don't remember that? Don't worry, you didn't see it in this playthrough. Let me switch over to the French version of the game. This is the Golden Fleece book from the Loft. The French text is much the same as the English. Then Perseus discovered Ichthys, changed into a stone statue. He addressed his companions, "Beware of Medusas." Not Medusa, Medusas. Plural. It's plural in the translation as well, but the phrasing makes it less obvious. Beware of the Medusa. But what does that mean? The short answer is, it's a pun. Méduse, in French, does mean Medusa, and from the context of the story, it's natural to assume that's what it means here. But there was only one Medusa. When one starts referring to multiple Medusas, they must not be talking about the singular Gorgon, but rather the animal that, in French, shares her name. What we in English call a jellyfish. It's a warning to beware of the jellyfish in the bathtub, and an illustration of how wordplay jokes rarely translate well. Finally, the last error is not so much an error as it is an omission. In the Chapter 5 appendix, I made a list of all the deaths still possible after you've beaten the game. I left out 2. The accursed books in the library. And with that, I'll call this LP finished. Will I do another in this style in the future? Maybe. But I did this one because I wanted to try something different. And for my next, I imagine I'll try something different still.